everybody was able to easily, contribute to Wikidata. And then to contribute to Wikidata, the assignment we give, or the list of names we give them to work on. Thank you so much. And we're going to continue, but today we are doing a different parliament, which is the first parliament of the First Republic of Ghana. That's from 1956. So stay with me and let's learn something new and exciting. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can see the umbrellas. So
okay. All right, so we're going to start with the introduction to Wikidata for those of us that are new to Wikidata, and even those of us who have been already editing Wikidata. Doesn't hurt to go over it or have more explanation to the knowledge you already have on Wikidata. So first of all, when we talk about Wikipedia, Wikipedia is under a parent company called Wikimedia. And this Wikimedia runs other projects, and not only the Wikipedia projects. So there are other projects that include Wikicommons, Wikinews, Wikibooks, and a whole lot wiki projects. But today, the one we're going to discuss into detail is Wikidata. So first of all, before I tell you what Wikidata is and what Wikidata is and how it's used and all that, I want us to understand why Wikidata was created. It was created because Wikipedia wasn't able to solve two problems. So there had to be a solution to these problems, and Wikidata was the solution. First of all, the first problem with Wikipedia was the difficulty of updating data. So outdated data was a problem that was with Wikipedia. So for example, we are currently having our 2021 census. We had previous census in Ghana back in 2010. And I'm sure the population of Ghana is not going to be the same as it was 11 years ago. So that means if after this whole census is done, we're going to get new figures, new structural figures in Ghana. And there are new buildings day in and day out. We give birth in Ghana, so I'm sure the population has increased a little bit. So there's going to be a change in number or a change in information. And if so, it has to take an individual to go onto Wikipedia and then update this information or change the information. And on Wikipedia, there are different languages that you can edit on. So if I, Patience also go onto Wikipedia and change the information about Ghana's census or the population of Ghana on Wikipedia to, let's say, 65 million, and I changed it on Wikipedia English, it is not going to reflect on the other languages that Wikipedia is in. We all know Wikipedia is in other languages. Recently, the Dagbani language, the Chi Wikipedia is also the Arabic Wikipedia, Yoruba, Igbo, a whole lot of languages. And that also shines light on the second problem, that's repetitive work. So if someone changes the information or data on Wikipedia English, a different person has to also change that same thing on a different language. So it's the same work, it's the same thing, but we end up doing double work. We end up having to go on to the different languages and change them. And if nobody on that language is able to change the information, or people who edit in that language on Wikipedia doesn't know that there is an update of information or change in information, the information will still remain like that, and it will be old, and it won't be useful to anyone who wants an information on that particular thing. So now we move on to what Wikidata is. So Wikidata is a free, collaborative, multilingual. So multilingual in the sense that it is edited on so many languages, as I said before, database that stores structured data on a central storage to provide support for Wikipedia and other Wikimedia projects. So basically, that's what Wikidata is. It is free, just as Wikipedia is free to edit and use, and it is structured, and it stores its data on a central data storage, which makes it easier to work with. Now, what makes Wikidata different from Wikipedia? Sorry. So first of all, almost every information on Wikidata is linked, is in blue. If you've had the opportunity to edit on Wikidata before, or you've used it before in any other way, you will realize that every piece of information there is in blue. It's linked. And when you click on it, it's going to take you to another page that gives you more information on that particular item you clicked on. Second of all, the information or data has a unique identity number. So last week, when Harriet was doing her presentation, and we realized that there is a family name called Farmer. And we also have Farmer, who is someone who works in agriculture. So I thought of using this example so that it makes it easier for everyone to understand. So Farmer, the person who works in agriculture, is identified by Q131512. There is no way that if you search for Q131512 on Wikidata, it is going to give you Farmer, the family name. This is a unique number that the system has created for Farmer, a person who works in agriculture. So once you key in that number or that code, it is going to generate Farmer, the person who works in agriculture, and not Farmer, the family name. So it helps to differentiate information, because on Wikipedia, when you go there, I mean, Farmer, and it's there. Wikipedia doesn't give you an explanation that, okay, this farmer we are talking about is the person who works in agriculture, or this farmer is the name of a person, family name of a group of people, unless you read the article into detail. That's when you realize, oh, okay, so this farmer is actually a family name. But with Wikidata, is straightforward, and that makes it really exciting to work with. And I said earlier that everything is stored on a central storage. And this makes it easier, because though we are editing on different languages, or we are editing with different languages, everything is stored on a central storage with the use of these unique numbers to make editing easier and also cancel out repetitive work. So I call it one data storage with different language interfaces. So a central place, but there are different languages being used, but we all understand the language being used because of the unique identity number that's given to everything on Wikidata. And you are able to query the system on Wikidata too. That's one thing that we would have to take you through very well another day. There is actually a way that you can query Wikidata, the system that you are looking for, maybe Patience also answer the politician, and it's going to bring you like my page. And also librarians can create a database of their books and documents on Wikidata, their inventory, to help their library and also help others who use Wikidata as well. And the last and most exciting thing about it all for me is that it can be read and edited by robots too. We all know that robots use numbers, and numbers are what Wikidata also uses to uniquely identify each data item. So it's easy for a robot to also take control and then edit as well. So now this is how the Wikidata interface looks like. So so this is how the Wikidata interface looks like. When you go on to Wikidata, this is how everything is like, not exactly, but this is how an item looks like on Wikidata. So first of all, the title of the item or the title of whatever you're going to write about or speak about, being it the name of a person, a city, a thing, anything of importance, that is called the label. So the unique number that is given to that title is called the item identifier. We also have the description section where you give a little bit information so that immediately someone sees the page, they know, oh, okay, you're talking about Douglas Adams, the English writer, not Douglas Adams, the politician, or Douglas Adams, the nurse. You're talking about the English writer. That's in case we have so many Douglas Adamses on Wikidata. And then the alias. So if the person or the thing you are writing about has nicknames or other names that people call them by, that is where the alias will go. And after that, we have something we call statement, which is the body of what you are going to talk about. So that will be the paragraph on Wikipedia, the long essays that you write on Wikipedia. But on Wikidata, they are in statements. And under each statement, you have a property and a value, and sometimes qualifiers. So I call properties the thing you want to talk about or what you want to explain. So, okay, I have Douglas Adams, and I want to talk about his education, where he had his education. Okay, so where did Douglas Adams have his education? He had his education at St. John's College, so that becomes the value. So every time I see the value to be the answer to the property. So the property is kind of a question. So educated at, where was Douglas educated at? Oh, he was educated at St. John's College. And with qualifiers, they give more explanation to the value. So St. John's College, we know the time he went to school, the date he went to school, the day he ended. We know the academic major, his academic degree. We know all this stuff. Okay, then let's give that information, or let's add that information to Wikidata so that anyone who comes here will know that, oh, okay, so St. John's College that Douglas Adams attended, he did English literature, he didn't do psychology, or he didn't do medicine. And then he gained a Bachelor of Arts from there, not a Bachelor of Law or whatever. So that's what qualifiers do. It throws more light on the value, or what the value is. And just as we add references on Wikipedia, it is very important to add references on Wikidata too. So this is how reference on Wikidata looks like. So I will pause here for questions if there is any, before we continue with the demonstration itself. So please, this is where you ask questions.
Thank you very much, Miss Patience. Please, the floor is open to everybody. If you don't understand anything, kindly ask questions so that we can move on and work within time. So if you don't understand anything, you can ask. Or if there's anything that you want to say, you can also do that. So the floor is open to all. And please, if you are not speaking, you mute yourself. And please, if you are not speaking, you mute yourself, please.
Is you are waiting for questions? Are there no questions?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, hello.
This Suedo Idimanza.
Okay, hello.
Yeah. With the diagram or the diagram that you place on the screen, I can
Okay.
see the instance of the Douglas Adams. Why?
Okay, so this is a demonstration as to what a property, a value, and then a qualifier is. So we needed something that we can add qualifiers to. It's not always that you can add qualifiers to a value. So for example, instance of, we want to know who or what Douglas is. So is Douglas a place? Is Douglas a picture, a movie, or something? That's where the instance of will come in. So instance of, so what is Douglas Adam? Douglas is a human being. So the value becomes human. Now, what other qualifiers would you want to add to human being to throw more light? A human being is a human being. So there is no need for qualifiers. That's why we didn't use that example on this diagram. Please, do you understand?
Okay. Yeah,
Hello.
I understand.
Hi.
Sorry, I think we have Laurentia's hand up. So Laurentia, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Please, on the graph or the chart you showed, I saw rank. Does that mean you can have more than two properties about the topic?
So you each, there is always a separate property. So there is a property for where he was educated, a property for what he is, a property for his date of birth. And then under the property, we can have so many values. So let's say Douglas is not just an English writer, he is a humorist. So he does two different jobs. So under his occupation, that will be the property. So what is his occupation? So first of all, he's an English writer. That becomes the first value, or the like one value. And then second of all, he's a humorist. That becomes another value that you can add. So for values, you can have so many values under like one property.
Okay, thank you. And please, another, I see the Brentwood School. There is end time and start
Yes.
time. Is it for like same information under the property?
Yes. So you see the start time and end time. As I said, those are called qualifiers. If you check under the St. John's College too, you see end time, academic major, academic degree, and start time there as well. So he didn't only go to
St. John. Okay.
St. John's College, and at Brentwood School, they know the date he started and then the date he ended. So that becomes additional information to the Brentwood School.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any more questions, please?
Yeah, yes, madam. I do have a question.
Okay, let's hear you.
Please, madam. Like we sometimes we always have to search on Google to get like some of them they are biographies, but sometimes mostly the dates of birth and the dates of death we do not get them. So I don't know if we could just leave it like that.
Yes, so the spreadsheet that we give you to work with, most of these information are provided, but the information that is not provided, when you go on,
No.
add it to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions?
Hello.
Hi, Edie.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, in the under part of the diagram, the last part
Okay.
of the diagram I'm talking about, it is written collapse the right hand side. collapse references.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so they just wanted to, the diagram just wants to show you how the references work on Wikidata. So if you look at the opened one, we have stated in which type of reference you are using. So you are using either you are using a document reference or something. That's when you use stated in. If you are using an online reference, then you use the reference URL. But the collapsed one, they are just showing you that you can expand it to see like whatever reference you want to use in there. And then you can also collapse it, and then it gets rid of the menu bar. I hope it's clear.
Okay. Thank you. It's clear. Thank you.
So any other question? Or hi.
Hello, I have a question.
I can't really hear you. Your line is breaking.
Hello.
Hi. But I can't hear you. If it won't be a problem, can you type your question in the chat section? Because I really can't hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, madam.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Madam, please, I want you to explain the label and the description for me.
The description.
Yes,
Okay.
the label and the description. Yes, I have
earlier said that the label is the title. So let's say you are writing a letter to somebody. You need to title the letter. You need a headline. You're writing a news story. You need a headline. On Wikipedia, you don't just write an article. There is a title. So the label here becomes the title, the topic you are going to throw more light on. And then the description is something brief about the person for to identify him or her. So Douglas, an English writer and humorist. It could be that there are so many other Douglases. In fact, last I checked on Facebook, there are so many other patients who also answered there. Okay, so let's say you are talking about me, patients who also answer. And there are other patients who also answer on Wikidata as well. So if somebody search for patients who also answer, and there is no description there, it will be very difficult for the person to tell the difference that is this patients also answer the one who works with Global Open Initiative, or patients also answer the one who is a lawyer. So if you add the description to it, that gives more information to answer. So you write patients also answer works at Global Open Initiative. So as soon as somebody search and then it pops up, the person will know that, okay, this is the patients I'm looking for, the one who works with Global Open Initiative, and not patients the lawyer. So I'm not going to pick patients the lawyer.
Okay. Okay, thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Please, any more questions? We want to answer as many questions as possible. Okay, so Joseph Ade says, my question is, if an editor does not add reference, does it mean it is collapsed? It means it is collapsed reference, right? No, please. So if there is an option to add reference, if you look at the reference box, the one which is labeled opened references, you can see under there that there is something in blue that says add reference. So it is only when you click on that blue add reference thing, that is when you are going to get the space to add your reference. If you are not adding any reference, there is no need to click on the add reference for you to get that menu to add reference to any item you are working on. I hope that's clear, Joseph.
Hello.
And then, hi, Nash.
Uh, I just want to ask the difference between Wikipedia and Google, because they all seem to be like search engines. Hello?
Hi.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I did. I heard you, please. I heard
Hello?
you, please.
Hello, sorry to cut in. Please, if you are not speaking, kindly mute yourself. If you are not speaking, because we're having a lot of
Hello?
noise at the
Hello,
background.
Nash.
Hi.
Just Nash, please mute yourself. We've heard your question and now address it for you. So
And
Thank
Dr. Adalan, please mute yourself.
I think you're in the same location. That's why. So please mute yourself.
Dr. Adalan, please mute yourself. Good.
So thank you very much, Nash, for your question. And Wikipedia is different from Google in so many ways. So the first fact that I want you to keep in mind is the fact that Wikipedia is an encyclopedia where you store information on so many things or everything that you can find in the world, okay, so far as it's notable. And what happens is with Wikipedia is the fact that everyone can freely add, or edit information on Wikipedia. But what happens is that when someone posts an information on Wikipedia, it's not like to advertise themselves or it's like an advertisement site. It doesn't lead you to a website of the person's information and all those things. Wikipedia will serve as a secondary source of information to that particular thing. So if, let's say, we have Coco Master's business on Wikipedia, it's just to tell us about Coco Master's business, and then where you can find more information. Let's say it will link you to the website of Coco Master. But when you Google something on Google, or when you look for something on Google, it either leads you to the website of the person or other places that you can find information on the person. So Google will lead you to the encyclopedia, Wikipedia, and on Wikipedia you can find information about Google or the corporation or the headquarters and all those things. But you will not find a page on Wikipedia that is like advertising a whole website of Coco Master with the intent of promoting their business and all those things. So the content in general makes it different from Google. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
And then Laurentia asked a question earlier on about the ranks. So Patience, if you could hover around the ranks for me, I'll be very grateful. So Laurentia asked a question about these three dots, and that's the very first time we've had someone actually asking us a question about this. I may be wrong, but that's what I know. And the reason is we have about three, let's say the first one being a triangle, and then the second one being a circle, and the last one being a triangle that has been turned upside down. So for the first triangle up there, this talks about, or is known as, the preferred rank. So the example to best give you an understanding of what the preferred rank is, if you write about, let's say, Tamale, or you write about Kumasi, or you write about Accra. Accra has had so many MPs, it has had so many mayors, it has had so many people representing Accra, as in, if you want to talk about political representation or something. And so what happens is that if you are talking about who has been the mayor, we can mention Okobandapoy, we can mention there's so many other mayors of Accra that we've had, Accra Metropolitan Assembly. But we want to let everyone understand that the current person, or per understanding, the current person for this particular mayor or this particular town is this particular person. We use that first triangle. Patients, can you point at it so that they will see with your mouse? So the first triangle there becomes the preferred person, or the preferred triangle. Or let's say we've mentioned, we know that, let's say Mount Everest is the highest mountain, or the Volta River. We know so many things about the Volta River, and per scientific calculations, people think that the Volta River is 110 meters long. Let's just say that. And then someone also says that, oh, based on this particular method of calculation, the Volta River is the 110 or 158 meters long. Now, if all the scientific methods have given us a particular measurement for the Volta River, but we all say that, okay, this particular way of measurement is the right way of measurement, and so the figure here is the correct one, then you are going to use that first triangle, which is called the preferred triangle, or the preferred rank. Okay, now you see that when you look at the example we have on Douglas Adams, we have about 3 or 4 schools under his educated, and we have St. John's College, and we have Brentwood, okay, school. Now, when and the reason why it's on the normal or the second figure or shape there, which is the circle or the oval, is that there's no value that will suit it better than any other value. So for instance, Douglas Adams actually went to St. John's College, and he also actually went to Brentwood. It's not that he went to St. John's College and St. John's College is higher than Brentwood, or no. They all are schools for education. So they all have the same rank. That is the same school. We are not ranking them based on which school is better than this or no. There's nothing like that. So that's why we use the 0, which is the normal rank. For instance, if they ask us that how many children does the president or the former, the late president J.J. Rawlings has, we have about 3 or 4 children. So all these 4 children will have the normal rank. It's not that the last one is greater than the firstborn, so you're going to use the preferred rank, or maybe he loves this one more than this. No, that's why we see that all the schools or have this the 0 or the circle under. Okay, that's why it's ash. So when you select a particular rank, it will be shaded, or it will be filled with color, as you can see under the schools. And the last triangle is turned upside down, and that triangle is called the depreciated rank. So for instance, these are mostly chosen if, let's say, the information you are given has some issues with it. Let's talk about the boundary of Ghana, and then we say that the whole boundary of Ghana is 2,377 whatever kilometers or miles or whatever it is. And people also feel like, well, a part of Ghana is into Togo and all those things. So this is the same calculation, and this is the figure 4,000. This you can't, because we've not yet established that this is the actual boundary, or this is the actual figure for the whole of Ghana. Then we have to use the depreciated rank, so that whoever is taking information will know that, okay, fine, this particular rank has an issue. Okay, we can use the population of Ghana. Some people say that, oh, Ghana's population is, let's say, 2 billion or 2 million or something. Then someone is also saying that Ghana's population is about 3,000. But because we are yet to conduct a census to be able to verify this, then we can't say that this is we are going to use that depreciated rank. So Laurentia, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, good to know. I'm told we have some questions in the chat. So someone says, how do I get the date of birth of a person? And yes.
So it
and
is.
Someone says. So why is it that the last cell under the chart is indicated collapsed reference? Okay, so we'll address all these questions. Patience, you can go ahead.
Hello, I have
Yes.
a question, please.
Can you
Abdullah,
hold
yeah.
on? Please, the Wikidata, is it only meant for only human beings, or you can create a Wikidata for like a restaurant, a place, or something?
You can do that so long as that restaurant or that place or that item is of importance. People know about it. It's of importance. So like even a painting, you can create a Wikidata item of a painting if that painting is important, like the Mona Lisa.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
So where do you get the date of birth of the person you are writing about? So for the purpose of the training or what we are doing, the spreadsheet that is provided, most of the politicians, they have their date of birth, their date of birth in the spreadsheet that was provided. But in case there is no date of birth for the spreadsheet or for the person that you are working on, you should search on Google if you're going to get the date of birth of the person or something. And then if you are able to get that information and then you use it, and of course you have to reference that because there can be a dispute about it if that is exactly the person's date of birth or you are just making it up. So if you can get it, then you get it and use it. But if you search and you don't find anything, just don't add the person's date of birth to the statement. That's all. And then for the collapsed reference, this chart is just to show you the features on Wikidata. So how Wikidata is. And I said, if there is no need to add reference or you don't have reference to what you are using or there's no need to add reference, just don't click on the add reference button to create that box for you to add the reference. So they just want to show you that you can add the reference, and then when you collapse the menu or when you click on the arrow, it's going to collapse the menu and then just give you the reference and then whatever reference you added there. So it's just for you to see how the interface work like, and you are going to have a better understanding of it when we are doing the demonstration. Nash, you have your hands up. Can you can talk, please.
I'm just wondering if there is a way one can work on this. I'm wondering if there is a way one can work on this offline instead of always being online. Is it possible?
I didn't get you. Can you ask the question again?
Is it possible to work on this offline instead of always being online?
Is it possible to work online instead of being offline?
So I do understand Nash's question in the sense that this is a real-time, I don't want to say software, I'm lacking words to use, but it's a real-time thing such that because all this information is linked, you need the internet such that if you select this particular St. John's College, it's supposed to generate other options of St. John's College so that you choose the particular one that you want. So in view of this, you would have to work online. Okay, it's different from Wikipedia where you can write your information and every other thing in a Microsoft Word document somewhere or in a place somewhere. Then later on, you can just copy and paste it and then do your editing as well. You understand? So this requires that you work online and not offline. And I know there are some packages there. Yeah, there are. So we are working towards that. There are other packages such that it allows people to work offline. Okay, yeah. And to the question about date of birth and all those things. The key thing about Wikipedia is you need to research. And that is why it's good for us because we learn to research and also we learn to write. Okay, now if you are going to provide information about something, let's say we want to talk about Dallon University, and I want no, sorry, not Dallon University, but Dallon community or Dallon library. Would you be happy if the information you're posting there is false, or someone has posted, let's say I just sit here and write about Dallon community, and then someone outside reads this information and it's false? Would you be happy? No. So if I want to write that Dallon community was established, let's say in 2001, and of which can be it's a false because it probably existed before 2001. So I need to do my research so that whoever is reading this information has the credible knowledge to do that. And then I can rely on websites, I can rely on newspapers, I can rely on books that will tell me more about the community. So we are always encouraged to write what is true and not what is false. And if you are writing anything, you need to add a reference, just like you have on Wikipedia. Just like you have on Wikipedia, okay? And you can write on anything. So you can even write about a book, you can write about a music, provided it's a notable music, or it's a notable book, or it's a notable thing that you're talking about. Even a dog, even an egg. Recently, there were, I think the most popular thing once was an egg in I don't know what it was. I don't know how to call that thing, but because it's popular and people have written about it, you can document that on Wikidata. You understand? So you're not restricted as to what to write, but whatever you are writing should be notable. Even if it's a poem, okay, it should be notable, and it should have, and one way to find that something is notable is you have other media houses, or you have books, or you have websites talking about this particular thing. And when I'm talking about media houses, I'm not talking about, let's say, some blogger somewhere, but we are talking about notable news sites with credible information. So for Ghana here, we sometimes rely on our city news web pages, Joy Online, BBC, Ghana Web, and then Google Books and all. So these are places that you can find information on whatever you want to write about.
Okay, so I think we can start the demonstration now because time is fast spent.
Sorry, Patience, someone said, I want to know the difference between add statements and add value. Can you just quickly address that and then we can go on? Or maybe you would do that during your demonstration.
Okay, so add statements. So statements are the paragraphs, or basically the paragraphs of what you are going to talk about, the body of, maybe, let's say if it was an essay, the flesh or the body of the essay that you are writing. That is what statement is. So a group of statements, that's the paragraphs or the body. But then a value, I like to explain it easier this way, that it is an answer to the property. So the property is kind of a question. So, for example, Douglas Adam. Where was Douglas Adam educated? We want to know where he had his education. So the answer to that question, where he was educated as, becomes the value. So that's St. John's College and then Brentwood School. So that is the difference. So the statement itself is like the parent, and then the value is the mother of the proper the child, which is under the statement, and then the property. I'm hoping if that's clear.
Yeah, Patience, I hope this works. I just want to throw some more light on the question. So for whoever asked the question, I've forgotten the name, but let's just say that we've all been writing essays, right? And always when we write our essays, we know that we have paragraphs in the essay. And for every paragraph, you are talking about a key thing. Sometimes when we are introducing our paragraphs, we talk about a key sentence or a topic sentence. So when we say, what are the, we are writing about the problems in Ghana, or like the problems in Ghana. And we talk about, we want to write a paragraph on inadequate power supply, or let's say, the key topic for that paragraph would be inadequate power supply. But so in this case, the statement becomes inadequate power supply. That's the heading. And then inside the statement, we are going to talk about the things that make it a problem, that is, and why we have inadequate power supply. So that becomes the value, okay? And so we can have so many statements under the problems facing Ghana right now. We can talk about inadequate supply, we can talk about unemployment, we can talk, all these are like paragraphs, on Wikidata, we introduce them as what statements, you understand? With this understanding, we can go ahead and then have a practical session, and then we'll answer any questions after.
Okay.
For those of us who weren't, okay, I don't want us to confuse ourselves. If not, I would have asked that since we assigned some Wikidata items to us to work on, we could have been doing it whilst we are working on this, but I want us to pay attention and have an understanding so that we can work on our own.
Okay, so for this session, we are going to work on the first Parliament of the First Republic of Ghana. And then this Parliament is very, very, should I use the word delicate? And if you're working on any item or any person under this Parliament, you need to be very careful as to if you are using the right information or not. Because we realize that at a point, some people or representative of some regions were introduced to the parliament to sit in the parliament, but they were not parliamentarians, they were representatives. And they didn't start as at the same year as the other MPs started. And then also there was one particular MP, Kwajo Bushe or something, that he was occupying 2 different seats. And one started at a different date, ended at a different date, and so on and so forth. So you need to be very careful when you are working with this data. And through our demonstration, I am going to explain it very well for you to understand. So first of all, let's open Wikidata. Okay, so this is the interface of Wikidata when you open it for the first time. And welcome to Wikidata, a free knowledge base with so many data items that anyone can edit. So first of all, if you don't have an account with Wikipedia, I know most of us here, we have an account with Wikipedia. The same login is used for your Wikidata, so you don't have to create a new account for Wikidata. It's the same login. So in case you don't have an account on Wikipedia or Wikidata, then you click on create an account to create a new account. They'll ask you for some basic information, the username you want to use, your password, your email, and some other basic information. Then you have an account on Wikipedia. So I'm going to use the same login for my Wikidata. And there we go. So immediately as after you log in, you find your name at the top side, the first toolbar. So Nanaya series, that's my Wikipedia, Wikimedia username. And then you find talk preferences, better watch list contribution, logouts, and all that. And then you move on to create an item. Now, just as we always do on Wikipedia, whenever creating an item, you need to make sure that the item does not already exist on Wikidata. So in order to do that, you first have to search for the person or place or whatever you are writing on. And for the sake of this demonstration, I want us to create a Wikidata item for Kwabena Edu Tutu Amankwa. He was a member of Parliament of the First Republic of Ghana. And even with the spreadsheet that we give you, if the person has a Wikidata item, at the last cell, you find the Wikidata link for the person in there. In case you don't find it, probably it means the person doesn't have one. But just to be very, very sure, we need to search for the person on Wikidata to be sure. So Kwabena Edu Tutu Amankwa. So okay, so right here you can see that the person already has a Wikidata item. So a Ghanaian politician, Kwabena Edu Tutu, already has a Wikidata item. So we find a different person to create an item for. Okay, we can create one for John. Is it Alice? Oh. Okay, let's create for, sorry about this. I want one that we can have, we can work on every information. Okay, so we can create a Wikidata item for Kobna Casey. Let's first search for Kobna Casey. I got the name right. Okay, so we search if he has okay, Kobna also has a Wikidata item. I wanted to work on one that went to the university so that we get to add the academic degree and academic major on, but it seems most of the items have already been created. So I'm just going to pick any of them and then create an item for. All right, so let's create an item for, oh, this is so confusing. . Let's create an item for John. Okay, I think John does not have a Wikidata item, but we have to be very sure. So you can interchange the name and start with the surname. Still, you can also do a Google search, then find out if John has a Wikidata item already, just to be very sure before you start. Okay, so he doesn't have a Wikidata item, so we can create one for him. So mostly when you search for something and you don't find it on Wikidata, there will be a place where they will ask you to create a new item, mostly under the search bar, but we don't have that here. You can find create a new item also on the left side of your screen of your laptop, whatever you are using. And then you can find create a new item as the fourth item on the list. So you can click on that and start with the process. All right, so as said earlier, you can edit in so many different languages. There is English, there's Greek. But for me, I edit Wikipedia and Wikidata well in English, so I am going to use English to work. So the label, which I said earlier, that becomes the title, whoever you are talking about, whatever you are writing about. So John, I don't know, is it Ajakwa? Yeah, John Ajakwa. So becomes the label here, and the description. We know he is a Ghanaian politician, but some of these politicians were also lawyers, nurses, and all that. But in case we have that, or we know whatever he also did, then we can say a Ghanaian, maybe a Ghanaian lawyer and politician, a Ghanaian politician and pharmacist or something. But he was a civil servant, so just a Ghanaian politician will do. So that becomes the description. So whenever you search for John Ejakwa, there's at the search box there, it will show us a Ghanaian politician. So that's the John Ejakwa you are looking for. If we had known any nicknames or any aliases he uses, we could have added that here. But since we don't know that, we'll leave that and then continue to create the item for John. Okay, so this is how it looks like when an item is created. And as soon as you create an item, the system automatically generates the unique identity number for you. So that's not generated by you, but the system itself. So whenever anything is updated on John Ejakwa in any language on Wikidata, is going to reflect everywhere. Now let's continue to expand, add paragraphs or add statements to John's Wikidata item. So first of all, we want to know who or what John is. Is John, sorry to say, a thing, a place? We don't know. So we need to know who or what John is. So instance of, we know that John is a human being. So we add that human. And then you publish. So for Wikidata, per every statement that you add, you need to publish it separately, individually. We continue to add the next statement. So we can add his sex or gender. So as a human being, you need to be identified as something, a male, female, transgender. We have people who even don't identify as in they are non-binary. That's like an identity. So you need to state that. So we know John is a male. And then we publish that as well. And we add the next statement, country of citizenship. So the object is a country that recognizes the subject as its citizen, and obviously Ghana is the citizenship of John. So you add that, Ghana. So when I was saying that the description is very important for us to know which Ghana you are talking about. Now, when you look at this, there is Ghana, which is a painting by Fred Wilson. So if you choose that particular Ghana, it's not going to fit here. It will be wrong because that's not the country that John is from. That's a painting. But Ghana, the sovereign state in West Africa, is where John is from. So that's the correct one to choose. And then you publish that. We can add date of birth. It's right here. So sometimes when you add a statement, the property box tries to generate some of the statements that you need to add for you. So date of birth was right here. So I just select that and we search for John's date of birth in the spreadsheet that we're given. So John was born in 1883. And during our question and answer session, as stated earlier, with the date of birth, we need to be very, very sure. It can be it can be that you're just conjuring date of birth for people. So what shows that truly this is John's date of birth? So on the spreadsheet, there was a link that took us to a page that has information on John. So it said here that he's born in 1883. So this URL or link will become the reference for John. So just as I said, if there is no need to add reference, don't click on the add reference. So for the statement instance of sex, country of citizenship, you realize that no reference was added. So there wasn't any need for me to click on add reference to add that. And no value was also added. So there is not any need for me to click on add value to add anything. But for the date of birth, there is a need for a reference to make the information legit. So reference. So was it stated in a book? Was it a reference URL? For this instance, it was a reference URL. So that is what we'll choose for the property. And then you insert your reference in there and you publish. And we continue to add statement. So where he was educated at can be added. So educated at, so with the institution John attended.
President.
Yes, please.
Sorry to cut in. The last time when we were doing, we did not add place of birth, and this one today too, we are making place of birth. So the question is it not necessary to add?
If you know the place of birth of the person, you can add it. But in this case, we don't have the information as to where John was born. So that's why we are not adding it.
Okay.
Yes. And then it also looks like there isn't any information on the school John attended. He joined the Nigerian Civil Service, served in the political department. So there's not much information on John and where he had his education. But if for time, because of time, I am not going to Google to search or anything, but you can actually go to Google and then search for these stuff, maybe John Ejakwa education or something. And it might surprise you that you might get some of these information from Google Books or even from books in libraries and all that. So we would encourage you to research. But because of time, I am going to take the educated at session out. So in case you add anything to Wikidata and you realize that maybe you didn't find information for that thing, you just click on cancel just beside the publish and it will take it off. Now we can add his occupation. Okay, right there. So from the spreadsheet you were given, we know that John was a civil servant. So that was his occupation. So we add that. Okay, so civil servant, person employed by a government department agency. So this is the right one we are looking for. When you publish it. Now we can go ahead to add the position he was holding. The position he was holding, so position held. Subject currently or formerly holds the object's position or public office. So that's the one we select. So first of all, he was a member of the first parliament of the First Republic. So that's the answer to the question, what position was he holding? So member of the First Parliament. So as you are typing, the system tries to generate options for you. So First Parliament, we are not looking for First Parliament of the United Kingdom, but rather First Parliament of the Republic, the First Republic, sorry. First Republic of Ghana. So this is it. A parliamentary term that was started in 1956 and ended in 1965 in Ghana. So he was a member of this parliament. And at this point, this is where we can add qualifiers to it. If we knew where he was educated, the academic degree and all that, we could have added that and then added qualifiers to explain that. But we can do that here at the position held because he's not holding this position forever. He started from a point and ended at a point. Or even if he is still the one on the seat, he started as a point at a point. So we need to know when he started, which people he is representing, the parliamentary group and all that. So we can add the first qualifier, start time. And we go to the spreadsheet to find the time that the parliament was started. So this parliament was started in 1956. The exact date is not there, but we know the parliament started in the year 1956. So we write that as the start time, 1956. Then you add another qualifier, end time, when the parliament ended, end time. So it ended in 1965. Now, when working with this particular parliament, I entreat us all to be very careful with the start time and then the end time, because as you can see, the start time is 1956 and the end time is 65. So if you are not careful, you might interchange them. So let's be very careful when working on it. And now we can add the parliamentary group. So on which ticket or which parliamentary group was he part of? So he was part of CPP, Conventions People Party. So we search for that. Okay, so this is it, Socialist Political Party in Ghana. And then add more qualifiers, parliamentary term. Okay. So which parliamentary term? It was the first parliament of the First Republic of Ghana. Definitely, that's what that's the parliament he was a member of. So first parliament. Sorry. the first Parliament of the First Republic of Ghana. You can add more qualifiers. Elected in which election period or election year was he elected in? And for this particular parliament, they were elected in the 1956 Gold Coast legislative election. So that's what we type there. 1956 Gold Coast. Okay, so all right, so 1956 Gold Coast legislative election. That was the election. That was the election year or the name of the time he was elected in. Now, there is a course of how everybody's position ends. So maybe he died before the parliament was dissolved, or he was arrested. I mean, those days, those things were happening. So end course, what ended his position? End course. And we find here that it was dissolution of parliament. So, so as you can see, William Abrariafe, he was arrested in 1961. So he wasn't like the MP till the parliament was dissolved. So end course for William Abrariafe will be maybe arrested or something. Do you get it? But for John, is dissolution of parliament. So that's what you write there. Dissolution of parliament. Now, every electoral or every MP represents an electoral district. So we can add that as our last qualifier. So electoral district. John was representing mid voter, but I don't think mid voter is an electoral district anymore in Ghana. But let's check if in case it is. So it is not. Mid-Water is no longer an electoral district in Ghana, so there's no need to add the electoral district. And in this case, you take it off. But if the electoral district is in existence, please do add it. So in all, with the electoral district included, you're going to have 7 qualifiers, 7 of them. But if you are not able to get the electoral district of that particular person, you're going to have 6 qualifiers under the position held. And then you publish it. So there is one last thing that you can add. That's his religion. So John was a Christian. So we add Christian. So there is a need to add reference to this particular statement as well, and not just the date of birth, because being a Christian is not by name or by country you are from. So what is the proof that John is actually a Christian? So that means there is the need to add reference to that, but then reference was not provided here. So this is where you go onto Google or any of these old political books to find any information about John Ejakwa being a Christian. But again, in case you can't find any information, it's best that you remove it. So I had already published it, but I can delete it. That's remove it. So this will be the Wikidata item 4. John Ejiakwa. If we had more information on him, maybe his wife was also a politician or notable person, we could add spouse of John. We could add that. Valentine was earlier talking about place of birth. We could add that. I'm sure John is no longer like with people who are alive. He's dead. I don't really know. But if we had known the date he died, we could have added date of death and like all that to it. So you can also do your research, more research, and then add more items or more statements to the Wikidata items you'll be creating. So this will be the item for John Ejiakwa. But I also want us to update an already existing item. And for this, I want to do that of Mary Winfred Quarantine, because I want to also do one that has these people who were not necessarily MPs, but they were members of parliament because of the regions. So Mary Quarantine. Okay, so Mary Winfred Quarantine. So he was the second member for the Eastern region. He wasn't an MP, so he was not elected in friend is saying he was not elected in 1956. She was brought into the parliament, brought into the parliament in 1960, and she ended it in 1965. So let's update that of Mary's information on Wikidata. Mary Winfred. Okay, so this is Mary's Wikidata page, and obviously it has already been created, but we can add more items to Mary's Wikidata item. So we go back to the spreadsheet and then get more information about Mary. That is so. First of all, we know that Mary was a dressmaker and also a trader, so we can add that to Mary's occupation. So here, when we're explaining that under one particular property, there can be like so many other values. So he under her occupation, she was not just a politician, she was also a dressmaker and then a trader. So we can add that to her occupation. Dressmaker, person who makes custom clothing for men and women. And then you publish. And then we can add a third one, that's trader. Okay, I think the trader. Yeah, I think the second one will best suit Mary. So we publish that too. And we've realized her date of birth is not here, so we can add date of birth. Date of birth. So Mary was born on 25th December 1922. So 25th December 25th December 1922. And then you publish. So it has been flagged. that means there's the need for us to add reference to it, and reference was provided. So we go to that page and then we find that Miss Mary Winfred Cranton was born at Achiase. So you see here, we can add place of birth to it because we found here that she was born at Achiase in 1922. So this can be our reference. Reference. And then we publish. So I think we should add the place of birth. So if you find more information about the person, then definitely you can add them to the person's Wikidata item. So let's see if Achiase is on, how is it spelled? It's on Wikidata. Hies. Hies. Okay, so there is Achiase, the constituency, Achiase, the district, Achiase, the senior high school. So I think that Achiase, the district, will best suit this when we publish. So I think this also needs references, and we can use the same reference that we use for that of her birthday or her date of birth, sorry, as reference for this one too, because it's in the same reference URL. Oh, okay. So I think there is an issue here because Chiase district should have a statement, country, and all that. So that needs to be sorted. For now, I'm going to take the place of birth out. And if we are able to solve that issue, that can also be added to it. Now we can continue to where she went to school. So Mary attended Mofatro School, and there is reference here. So educated at So Mofatro School doesn't have a Wikidata item, so it won't be possible to add that information to Mary's Wikidata item. So somebody can go and create a Wikidata item for Mofatro School. I know that school is still in existence because that's the school I attended. So I think I'll take it upon myself to create a Wikidata item for Mofatro School. And then when that is done, that information can now be added to Mary's Wikidata item. So for now, we're going to take it off and then continue with position held. So position held. She was also a member of the first parliament of the first Republic of Ghana. So we state that. Member. Member of the first parliament of the first Republic of Ghana. Then here we add qualifiers to explain things. So start time. As I said, when working with this parliamentary term, we all need to be very, very careful. I'm stressing on the change in dates because it's very important that you don't mess the dates up. So she started in 1960 and not 1956. And we can see that someone also started in 1964, 1961, and so forth and so on. So we write 1960 as Mary's start time. Add more qualifiers and time. So she ended, her term also ended in 1965, just as the rest. But some people, there could be a change in the end time date as well, because maybe someone died in 1963. So that was the time the person ended the position he or she was holding. So she ended in 1965. You add that to it. Sorry. 65. And then we can go on and add parliamentary group. So Mary was a member of CPP. So we add that. The Socialist Political Party in Ghana. And then we add parliamentary term. So first parliament of the First Republic of Ghana is the parliamentary term. Can anyone help me with other qualifiers we can add to the position held that I haven't added? Hello? Can anybody help me, please? What other qualifier can I add? Because I was saying that we are going to have 7 in all, but 6 in case you don't get the electoral district elected in. Okay, yes, so please. Elected in. And find out which electoral. So she was elected in the 1956 Gold Coast legislative election. So 1956 Gold Coast. What other qualifiers can I add, please? Started in is already there. End course. Yes, we can add end course. End course. So what ended her parliamentary term? Did she die? Was she arrested? So dissolution of parliament. The parliament actually ended. So dissolution of parliament was what ended term. Thank you.
What about her electoral district?
Yes, that can also be added. The electoral district. Okay, so now we search for Mary's electoral district. So when you look at Mary, the cells that has information on Mary, you find out that Mary wasn't an elected MP under an electoral district, but she was a member of parliament for the Eastern region. So in this case, she wasn't representing any particular electoral district, but she was representing the Eastern region as a whole. So in that case, we can't add the electoral district to her to this particular section. So we will take it off. So that leaves her with 6 qualifiers in all. Then you publish it. So as I said earlier, it's very important to always check the information before you add them, because this parliamentary term is quite complicated, because there were people who were in parliament, but they were not actually representing electoral districts. They were not MPs. They were representing their regions. So there were 2 or 3 members, and it wasn't just Mary Winfred, but Lucy Enning was also a member for Bunahafo region. Regina was a member for Volta region. Comfort, member for Ashanti region, and it goes on and on and on and on. So when creating the Wikidata item or updating the information, you have to be very careful as to the information you are adding being legit. So for example, there is this guy, Joe. Oh, sorry. I'm looking for a Joe. Okay. I don't know how to take this thing off. Okay, so as seen here, he was a member of the parliament from 1956, and his time in parliament ended in 1962 because he was arrested in 1962, but he was later reinstated again as an MP. So if you check this one, he was first an MP from 1956 to 1962, but he was representing Western Gomwa at that particular point. He was representing Western Gomwa, and then he was arrested. But later, when he was reinstated into parliament again, he was no longer representing Western Gomwa, but rather Eastern Gomwa. So that means he's going to have like two different position held, one starting in 1956 and ending in 1962, and the other starting in 1962 and ending in 1965 with different electoral districts. I hope everyone understands what I'm trying to explain here.
Of course, we do.
Yes, please let us know and let's address any confusion there is. So we have added or we've updated Mary's Wikidata item, and we've created a new one for John. So that's how you create an item and then also update item on Wikidata. If there are any questions, anything you need clarification on, please let us know.
Hello, madam.
Hello, Lauricia, your hand is up. You can ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Please, I wanted to know in terms of this, the last person we updated, we realized that he had two positions held. So how will we know? Would we be given this particular table, or we have to search for it?
Yes, the spreadsheet will be provided for you. The link will be given to you. The link will be given. You'll be given individuals you are supposed to work on. So in case you get Kwajo, I don't know how to pronounce the name. I don't want to mess it up, the surname, but this is it. So in case you get this person, then you're going to have to create two different positions under one from 1956 to 1962, where he was representing Western Gomwa, and the other from 1962 to 1965, where he was representing Eastern Gomwa.
Okay, thank you. And please, second question about Mary Cranton's issue where her place of birth wasn't part of the Wikipedia item. Can we create our own Wikipedia item? How, and if so, how do we do that? Or
Okay,
we just
so
let it go?
You can create a Wikidata item, but in this case, I suggest that you just leave it like that. Don't add it to it when you can't find it. But you can actually create a Wikidata item if we had more information on Achiasi, the community. Maybe it's in Eastern region, it shares borders with blah, 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 blah. But I guess we don't have those detailed information about Achiasi. So we'll just leave it and let it be. But if we are able to get more information about the community Achiasi, maybe, oh, this notable person comes from Achiasi, you know, then we can create a Wikidata item separately for Achiasi, and then we can update Mary's Wikidata item with the place of birth. Just as the place she had the education to Mofatro School. So an item can be created for that. And when an item is created for the school, then we can add that to Mary's Wikidata item. I hope that's clear.
Yeah. So I was asking, how do we create the item, or that's not part of today?
Yes, so creating a Wikidata item, it's very easy. When we started the whole process, I earlier told you, when you are creating an item for someone on Wikidata, you need to first search in Wikidata and find out if the person doesn't have an existing Wikidata item. Because earlier I tried creating an item for Pabna Edu Tutuamankwa and realized that he already has an existing one. So there is no need to create another one. So you search on Wikidata and also probably search on Google to be very sure that the person does not have a Wikidata item. Then you can create a Wikidata item by clicking on, when you check on the left side of your screen, the fourth item on the menu, you find create a new item. When you click on this is going to take you to a page where you can create a new item for whoever you are working for. So when you click on create a new item, this is how it looks like. So the name of the person will go to the label, the description is going to go here, and then you create the item and continue adding statements and all that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question? We'll take a few questions and then we'll end the session, please. Hello? Please ask your question. Your line is breaking, please.
Hello, yes, to the reference. Yeah, you referencing.
Hello? Yes, hi.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, please
Yeah,
stop.
my question is, I'm saying if the referencing, it happens that the book, you are dealing with a book, you want to reference a book, but it happens that when you search the book, it will say no match found.
Okay, that means that
it may happen to the
okay. So to answer that question, please, if you in case encounter anything like that, reach out to Harriet, Ima, or myself. Sometimes that's because the book does not have a Wikidata item created for it. I think last week when Harriet was doing the demonstration, we realized that there was a book that Wikidata item was not created for. I think a diplomacy something. I've forgotten the title of the book.
Yes.
But there was a book that was we needed for the reference that wasn't created, and we created it after like everything was done. So just in case you encounter something like that, just reach out to Harriet, Ima, or myself, and then we'll sort it out.
Okay. And also my second question is with regards
I have
to
a follow-up question to your first question, please.
Okay.
Yes. So how then do one create a Wikidata for a book? Or is is it in the same format as
The
this, or
same
that's the first?
process. It's the same process when creating a Wikidata item for anything at all. You go through the same process, just that the statements are going to change. So, for example, if we are creating a Wikidata item for a book, then stated instance of the first statement, instance of, is not going to be human. It's rather going to be book. Do you get it? So the statement for books changes. Yes, so it's actually the same process, just that there will be a change in the statement.
Which means that any book you come across can be added as a Wikidata item.
Yes, if there is information, if the book is a notable book, there is more information. I mean, you can do that.
Okay, thank you so much. Please, you can go ahead with your other question.
Yes, so this is a book. Hold on, please. Let me show you something first before we go into the next question. So this is a book, The Birth of the Second Republic. So instance of, so you see that the instance of here becomes book, and then other statements will be added for it. So there are so many books on Wikidata that there are so many books that are items on Wikidata. So just in case you come across anything like that, just let us know and then we'll sort it out. Please go on with your question.
Yeah, my second question is with regards to the maybe electoral district, or maybe the school educated at the school attended. Sometimes when you search through a data, the name of the maybe electoral district or the school would have changed. So I don't know, like for instance, we have Achimota College, Achimota Training College. So if you search for it now, it's no more Achimota Training College. It's bearing another name. So I don't know. Can you use the name? Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, if only you are sure and you've confirmed that, let's say the Achimota, for example, you used, is no longer Achimota College but Achimota School. If you are sure that that is the situation, then you can add the new name to it. So, for example, we had people in those days attending Prince of Wales School, which is now Adisadel College. So then you can add that, because when somebody clicks on that and then it takes them to Adisadel College page, they are going to find out that, oh, this school was first named Prince of Wales, blah, blah, blah. So like it's the same thing. But with the electoral districts, when you, in case you can't find like the electoral district or it has been divided or changed or anything, just leave it. Don't add it then.
Okay. Thank you. So meaning if I'm sure that the name of the school is changed to this name, I can put that name in place of the old one.
Yes, you can do that.
Just ignore. Okay.
You can do that.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? If there is no other question, then I would like to hand over to
I have a question, please. My question has to do with something as a VOI, one statement as VOI, or Google identifier. There's a statement like VOI and another one Google identifier. I don't know what that means. Is it like when I search your name on Google, the results I get becomes a Google identifier, or?
I think Harriet.
Yeah, I'll address that. So scroll down to, let's see, the book that you used.
The book, The Birth of the Second Republic.
No, you were using, I don't know if it's a book. Okay, let's try another book. Let's say the Mona Lisa painting. Let's see something.
Okay.
So while we wait for the page to load, you realize that there are so many websites that we can find information on the Google painting. But aside it being a website, there are standard places of, I think, recognition. So we have something like when we have a movie, you can find it on IMBD or something like that. I just want us to find that Mona Lisa painting, and then you see some of the names. But these are standard places for recognition of identities or names where people register the name under a unique number. So for movies, I know we have such movie sites where it has a unique name attached to it. And so some of these numbers are linked to the Wikidata page so that, like we said, Wikidata is not just going to link you to the information that you have on Wikidata, but it will link you to other web sources that you can find this information on. So let's scroll down. Scroll down to the last. Go, no, you skipped it. So go up a bit where it says unique identifier. You are still on the statements. You have to scroll down to where it starts. Yeah. So these are all standard names that represent the unique identifier of Mona Lisa. So if you go to Zero Topic ID, you will find Mona Lisa painting. And for that place, this is the unique name that they have for the Mona Lisa painting. The Wiki Arts ID is Leonardo da Vinci. That's the person who painted this particular thing. So if you do a quick search of a unique identifier or the IMBD, you will find that this is a place where we have ratings, reviews, and where to watch the best movies also. It's the world's most popular and authoritative source for information. You understand? So people register their products or names under some of these things that you see, like the VIAF, the IMBD, and all, and even the ISO. Some languages have that kind of ISO where they register it such that they say that this language is unique from this particular language. So anytime you see ISO, this means this language is under this category of languages, and you can add that to the Wikidata item where Patience is showing that is the Patience. You have to go up, but not to let's say the last statement before the unique identity. All these are examples of the places where you can find a unique identity to Mona Lisa's painting. Please go up.
Okay, so it means that if I want to add any of these unique identifiers, I have to go to those sites, get the unique identifier before I can. VIAF. This was what I was asking.
Yes. So these are identifiers under which Mona Lisa has been registered. Okay. So you see that they say Bibliothèque Nationale de France. That's an ID. So if you enter this, you'll be getting the Mona Lisa painting. If you click on it, it will lead you to that particular page for that information.
Okay, thank you. But just a follow-up question. Please, do we have a standard when it comes to the addition of statements? Let's say when we are talking about books, do we have a standard of statements that you must add when it comes to a person, the standard of statements you have to add? Because sometimes you open someone's, you search someone's name, then you have a billion statements, then another person. Yes. So do we have a standard, please?
Okay, so there's much statements that you can add about a person for us to better know the person, but you add these statements based on the information you have available. So let's talk about, let's say, the president of Ghana, okay, and probably a new MP that has been elected this year or last year in elections. You realize that the coverage on the president is more because he has been in the system for so many years. And so there will be much coverage by other news sites and all. But if you look at a new MP, probably the only thing you might have about the person is the name of the person, the date of birth, and even where the person is representing to be to stand as an MP. There's hardly will you find much more information about the place the person was born and the schools the person has attended and then the positions the person has held. You understand? So if this person right from his school is just a nurse and then he stood for an MP and he had that position, definitely his occupation would just be a nurse and then what do you call it? A politician, right? But if the person has held so many positions or occupations, then you realize that you have so many informations to add about the person. So you cannot add as much as information you have on this person, but it must be limited to what information you have and how you can reference this particular information that you have available. And for the books too, you just have to go with what makes a book. What do you want to know about the book? When we take a book, we want to know the author, we want to know the language in which it was originally written in, and the year in which it was published, and the publishing companies. These are some of the things that you look out for. When you talk about music, you talk about the artist, the publishing company or the recording company, the manager of that particular artist or the music director. These are some of the things. So anything you write has a kind of information that you expect to give. So you just ensure that this information is there. And I'll always ask you to, if you don't know, if it's my first time of writing about a library, then I have to look for a library that I think has existed. So if I'm going to write about Dalong Community Library, then I think I would go and look for Baum Library on Wikidata to see if it already exists. And when you search on Baum Library, you realize that, oh, these are some of the information that someone has added to Baum Library. So I think if I have information on Dalong Library, which I can add to Dalong, then I can add it. So you realize that maybe the established year will be different from Baum Library. The community in which it is in, the number of books will be different, the capacity of the library. These are all informations that you can add to it. If you mention a stadium, you want to talk about the capacity of the stadium, the year in which it was established and all. So you are not restricted to anything, but as much as information you have, you can add to it with the references. So someone said we were given an assignment and
okay, thank you. Well understood.
Okay, so someone said we're given assignments and then some of them already exist on Wikidata. So they wanted to know, should we leave it or not? But I realized patients demonstrated that for some of the MPs, though their names already exist on Wikidata, but their position held for a particular term of office might not be there. So you would have to add it. So she opened the president of Ghana and you realize that the president of Ghana has been, I think, the foreign minister before. He has held so many positions. He has been an MP before and all. So you would have to add the information that we have told you to add now. So for those who joined us last meeting, you realize that we were working on the second parliament of the, I think, Gold Coast. And this time around, we are working on the first parliament of the First Republic of Gold Coast. So you realize that this are different terms of office, but it doesn't mean that the person does not exist on Wikidata already. So for instance, we have here Akufo-Addo being the member of the fourth parliament of the Fourth Republic, and he has also been the member of the third parliament of the Third Republic, and also the second parliament, and even the eighth parliament of the Fourth Republic. So you just have to add as much information as it goes on. So if you find that someone already has a Wikidata item, just go straight to see, does the person has a date of birth? Does the person have an education that has been provided in the table for you? Or has this person's position held for that particular term of office been added to it? If it already exists, then you leave it. If it doesn't exist, then you add it. If it's not on Wikidata at all, then you create it.
Okay, so just a case study on what we are seeing now, Mary Winfred quarantine, if I get the name right. When you look at the description, it says politician. Now this is obvious and a general description. Is it appropriate to give specific description or general descriptions like this are allowed on Wikidata?
Okay, so that's a good question. And I would advise that you add the country in which this person is. So a Ghanaian politician or an American politician or that. So that if we have different Americans who are from different countries, then it's easier for you to narrow it down. And these are some of the edits you can also do. So you don't really necessarily have to go and start writing articles from scratch, but you can correct some of the descriptions as well. So the basic thing you should have in mind is, aside the unique identifier, which is up there with the number in brackets, okay, what else can I use to throw more light on this person that will make this person different from the other Americans in elsewhere? Then you think about the labels that we've given to the person.
All
So I
right.
hope. Any other question?
Okay, I think I can end the live stream now.
Yeah.
Hello.
So yes, yeah.
Now we have spoken about a person, and then we have also spoken about the book. So what